So here we are again. And as you see, took my scarf off. I totally don't like scarves. Turn this down. I came in the room. My husband left and got something to eat. So I don't know if my phone was overheating or if because the Wi-Fi was in the car and the Wi-Fi was not connecting that good. But nonetheless, I said, well, let me just go back in the room and let me talk to you guys just for a few moments. Hey, Helver, because I really want you to hear this. So I've been on a couple of times. You have to go back and listen to replays of the information that I've already gone over. And for those that are just now coming on and for the first time and just coming on, and my replay viewers, I'm Treal Ravenel. I'm one of the founders of Detour Movement. And we believe and we teach that if you renew your mind, you can transform your life. That's anything from your marriage, your ministry, your mission, or your money. And I am extremely passionate about marriage. I'm extremely passionate about helping women to stand in that space of marriage, being able to hold that space. And I believe what the Word of God tells us in 1 Peter 3, when it talks about your husbands are not won over by your conversations and your discussions, but won by your character and your conduct. So I help women to not only stand in that space, but stand strong and confident in that place as a wife and to conduct themselves in a way so that their wives are won over. The word tells us that, or if you are saved, if you are a believer, then your whole household will be saved. And I truly believe that. And I'm fed up with seeing marriages broken. I'm fed up with seeing, especially those in the Christian community, marriages just falling apart for any and no reason. Couples not getting along. They're not working through different levels of adversity and opposition within the marriage, and it breaks my heart. And God just gave me this to be able to speak to women from a woman's perspective, from a wife perspective, and to let you know that you are a winner. So despite of the obstacles, despite of the challenges, we're going to work through those. We're going to, just join elbows together to see what we can do to break the cycle. So I talked about your marriage is not a competition, but it's a covenant. It's an agreement. So at no time you should be competing against your husband for any or no reason. And in particular, we were just talking about in an area of success. I know all too often you have couples that both are leaders, or you have one that's a leader and one that's not. And for this conversation, let's say that the man is operating in that place of leadership and authority and power, and that wife seems to feel that she's been given the backhand, or she's been left out, or she, her husband has one up on her. And a lot of times that causes a lot of friction and fiction in the marriage, and that leads to separation, and that also leads to divorce. I've seen it so many times. And what I want to say about that is, often, the woman or the wife has no idea what her purpose is. She has no idea what God has called her to do or called her to be, how he's called her to share that space within, her husband's life and just within the world as a whole. So the best antidote you can do for that, so you won't feel intimidated, you won't feel as if you need to compete against your husband, is to find out what God has called you to do. What were you placed on this earth to do? Jeremiah 1:5 tells us that before he knew us, before he knew us, he formed us, and he had a purpose and a plan for us, going into Jeremiah 29:11. So he knows what that is for you. So if you ever feel like your life is not where it needs to be, you're not getting anywhere in life, you see your husband shining and he's out here, moving and shaking and building this platform for himself and building this business, but you feel like you're just the wife. You feel like you're just his wife, you're just the missus. Nobody acknowledges you beyond that. Then you need to find out what you've been called to do so that you can walk in that place and you won't depend on his success and abilities, so to speak, to make you feel whole and to make you feel complete, because he's not able to do that. He does not have the power or the authority to do that. That's all up to you. It's great to support him, but you don't want to be intimidated by him or try to compete with him, or feel as if you have no place, you have no voice because he's outshining you. Okay, so that's what I want to say about that. I also say, if he wins, you win, we all win. And I talked about leaning and gleaning from your husband, and I just used my story as a testament of how I learned so much from my husband and how I had the privilege and honor to be able to watch him grow his business, build his business from the ground up. I met him in 2005, and that's when he first started his business. And here we are in 2016, 11 years later, and I'm seeing the fruits of all of his labor, all of the hard work, all of the efforts, and he's taught me tremendously on my journey of entrepreneurship, because I never desired to be an entrepreneur until a few years ago, where God definitely told me, like, this is the direction you're going to go in. That's when, I was able to look back at all of the things that he taught me in silence, because he was not teaching me intentionally, just by including me in his life, just by including me when he, did different business dealings and connected with different people of power and influence, and, different events and things that we went through too, and things that he's hosted, things others have hosted and have called him to be a part of. And just, I've learned so much just being under his leadership and being under his mentorship. And that's a conversation you need to have with your husband. Okay. Then I also talked about praying for your husband, praying, and not praying against your husband. And that's when it seems to cut off every time I get on that part. Not praying against, praying. And that goes back to you not knowing your purpose, not understanding what God has called you to do. So you feel as if you have a desire, unfortunately, for him not to succeed, for him not to grow in his business or his industry, because you want to play catch up. That's not the time for that. You know what I mean? Anytime your husband comes to you, he has idea, he has something that he wants to do, a business he wants to launch, a partner he wants to connect with. You should be praying with him. You should be praying for him. You should be praying that he's led by the Spirit of Christ, that his steps are ordered by God, that he connects with the right people, that God opens up doors for him, and things of that nature. Make sure you're praying for him. Pray for his success. Pray for him. My notes over here, guys, so if I keep looking over, pray for him to rise to the top. And what did I say here? I said, don't plot his demise or failure subconsciously. So don't even subconsciously do it. Don't allow the enemy to make you feel as if, he's about to be successful, he's about to blow up, he's about to be major, you're going to be left in the shadows. Don't do it. Don't allow your mind to go there. Going back to the whole focus of our organization, renew your mind, transform your life. Don't allow those thoughts to creep in. And then the last point I wanted to talk about was give him or allow him Superman moments. Allow him Superman moments in the crowd, and especially around his friends and his circle of influence and things of that nature. Okay, we know that you're a CEO wife. We know that you are a leader. We know that you are prominent. We know that you are great. But allow him those moments and support him in that space, and allow him to share that. Me and my husband both have a very strong personality. Both of us are very assertive. Both of us are leaders. So sometimes when we get into a crowd of other leaders and other people that are very assertive, and like us, it's so easy to overpower, want to overpower, overtake. Not that we're doing it intentionally, but we are leaders. So that's what we do. Overpower and overtake. So, in his space, and I talked about this earlier about an event, me and my husband went to a birthday party. We went to, I try to allow him to just be that Superman, be that superhero in his space, and his, and when he comes support me in different things, then vice versa. So we definitely want to do that. So I want to just share a few things with you. I've been on a few times already in the shut off, and now we're on and looks like it's okay. But I want to share just a few things, or leave a few things with you. And then I have a few call of actions for you as well. For those that don't know, I'm on every Saturday at 12 noon for our wife chats. On Wednesdays at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm on for our wives who win. And that's just a moment of us praying together and praying for the needs of our marriages and things of that nature, sharing, different things that we need to be praying for. So that's what that whole call is about on Wednesday morning. And actually it's, I'm Marissa. Actually, I'm reading the book, The Power of a Praying Wife. And that's what those calls for the most part are based off of. So just making sure that we're praying for the needs of our husbands and our marriages as well. So we can continue to see the health and wealth of our marriage. I'm doing well, hon. How are you? You have to go back and listen to the replay, Marissa. We've been on a few times, and, technology is so wonderful. So it's that, it does what it does. So I want to just share a few things with you, 6 things I want to share, and then a few call of actions, and I'll be done, and you can enjoy your Saturday, as I will as well. I'm out of town, so you see my backboard. Yes, I'm sitting on the bed because this is the best light. right now. So that's where we are. And I didn't have my tripod or anything, but nonetheless, it all works out. Okay, so number one thing I want to share with you as a wife and even a wife to be, and just so you know, those that are on these scopes, these scopes are for wives, current wives, or women that desire to be a wife, and not just desire to be a wife, but just desire to marry right, and to have the longevity of their marriage, and not and understand that when adversity, when opposition do come, that you want to stay. You're committed to staying in your covenant relationship. For my wives, this is for you, for those that are committed to staying in your covenant relationship, and you're not allowing the adversity and the challenges and opposition cause you to separate or remove yourself totally from your marriage. Okay, this is not for wives that feel like they have it all together. If you have a perfect marriage, if you feel like there's no change or anything that needs to be done within your marriage, these scopes are not for you. But these are for women that want to continue to grow in their marriage. They want to continue to be better individually, because the better you are, the better your marriage is. So these are what these scopes are talking to. These are what these scopes are speaking to. So just make sure you're in the right room. So okay, I want to just give you 6 pointers about his needs and how he needs you to support him. Your husband needs your loyalty and support. As he grows, as he faces the world, the giants of this world, and trying to build a life for you, for your children, for your future, he needs your ongoing support and loyalty. He needs to know that you're going to be there through thick and thin, through hell and high water, through whatever comes, that you're not going to challenge him. You're not going to be against him. You're not going to undermine him, but you're going to support him. Okay. Number 2, he needs you to honor and respect his leadership, even if you are a leader. Let's take Dave and Joyce Meyer, for example. If you're familiar with her, she's a prominent minister, pastor, and her husband normally is in the background. He's normally in the audience, or he works the back of the business within Joyce Meyer's ministries, and he's totally okay with that from the testimonials that they've given, throughout the history of their marriage, and they've been married 40 something years. So even if you are a leader, Joyce says all the time, like, she knows how to submit to her husband. She knows how to allow him to still take the lead. So even though she's the pastor and she's the leader while she's on stage and within Joyce Meyer's ministry, she never undermines his leadership, his role, and his authority. She completely and totally respects him. So even for you, wife, for me as well, I'm a leader. If you're a leader, still respect and honor your husband in his space of leadership, and let him know that you honor him in that space. Okay. Number 3, share in his excitement and excitement when he achieves goals, milestones, or accomplishment. Share in his excitement when he comes to you and tells you that something happened on the job today, or something happened in the business today, and it was great for the business. It was great for him. Share in that excitement. Don't be like, oh really? Oh okay. Oh well, that's good. Even if you are having a bad day, or you're not really excited, which I don't know why you would not be, but sharing that excitement, that means volumes to him. That speaks volumes to him. That means the world to him. And he knows that you're on his team. He knows that you are on his team, and not just for the benefits, but you're on his team because you love him and you support him. Okay. Number 4, when he is down, don't knock him further into the ground. Wow. Instead, build him up. I've seen it all too often when husbands go through, just like us as wives. They have meltdowns. They handle things differently, but they go through, believe it or not, just like we go through. So when he is down, don't knock him down. Don't stump him further into the ground, but build him up. Tell him how great he is. Tell him how amazing he is. Tell him how awesome he is. And I guarantee you that will make a world of difference in his life, and also in the wealth and health of your marriage as well. Okay. Number 5, don't focus on his weaknesses, because we all have them. What his weaknesses are. There's no need for you to remind him of what he cannot do, who he is not, how he has failed in the past. Even if you feel like he's making a decision that is not in the best interest of you or the family or the marriage, then that's not the time for you, so to speak, to test. And you may have undermined him in the past. And so him talking to you about this is not something that he feels comfortable with doing. You have to look at past history, unfortunately, of the marriage. Even though you may be at a better place now, you just have to look at how things have been handled in the past and make sure you're not repeating those same cycles, because an insanity person keeps doing the same thing. If you keep doing the same thing, getting the same results, that's somebody that's insanity. So you want to make sure that you're putting something different in, a different formula to the equation, so you can get a different outcome, right? So you don't want to focus on his weaknesses and his failures, but you definitely want to focus on his strengths, and you want to be able to help him in his areas of weaknesses by just showing up in the marriage. Okay. And then number 6, and I kind of talked about this over and over, but don't undermine his leadership. And I want to read Proverbs 14:1 says, "Every wise woman builds her house, but the foolish plucketh it or tears it down with her hands. A foolish wife can unknowingly and deliberately crush his bands, oh God, I can't read my hand right, guys. Basically, crush his spirit by making foolish decisions." So we don't want to make foolish decisions as a wife. You don't want to undermine his leadership and his authority. Even if you feel like, I want to be independent, I can do things on my own, I don't need his assistance or his guidance, and you proceed in that way, you know what I mean? That's a foolish decision. And that can definitely make your husband feel like, what am I here for? Why does she need me? If she doesn't, I'm here. A husband is supposed to provide, protect, and support you. That's what they're supposed to do. That's what the Word of God says. So allow him to share that space. And again, even if you feel like he's not making the best decisions, always, 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 before addressing him, go to God in prayer and go to him in wisdom. Only a fool person speaks all of their mind. So you don't want to be a foolish person. You don't want to be a foolish person even in tearing down your home with your hands or your mouth. But you want to make sure that you're operating in wisdom. And when you go to him, God has already prepared his heart to be able to receive you. And then you're going to him for the welfare of the marriage as a whole. Okay? So that's what I want to share with you. And I have a few call of actions for those that are women on this scope. We have a Facebook group. It's DMI Kingdom Women Lounge, and I would love for you all to be a part of that. It's a free group, no charge, but we are just doing some tremendous things within that group, and I'm only on here a couple times a week, so I would hate for you to miss out on all the juiciness that happens in that group with other like-minded women, wives, single women, all types of women leaders, builders, entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, and things of that nature. Over 1,000 women are inside of that group, so I would love for you to be a part of that. So once we get off the scope here, I want you to head on over to DMI Kingdom Woman Lounge to be a part of that group, and I can go ahead and accept you. And I also want you, if you're a man or a woman, to follow me on Facebook on my public page, which is at Mrs. Treal Ravenel. So if you go to MRSTREAL Ravenel daily, I share inspirational tips and quotes and just messages to my woman, to marriage as a whole. And I know that the things that I share will definitely bless you. I'm personally doing a 30 days of gratitude right now. It's going to end on November 30th, and you'll see that shared on that page as well. So I want you to stay connected. I want you to definitely join forces with me and thousands of other women, for my wives that are out there on our journey called life, on this journey called life, as we continue to walk in our purpose and strive and thrive in the things of God. So until next time, I'll be back on Wednesday at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 a.m. So make sure you're following me. So go ahead and follow me so you can get the notifications. You'll know when I'm on. And I look forward to touching each and every one of you. Until next time, you have a beautiful weekend. Love you all so very much, and God bless you.